All right, everybody, this is the last grammar worksheet for this week. Great job getting through all the work. So we're going to move on from fragments and complete sentences to phrases and clauses. So a phrase is a group of words that work together, and a sentence can have several phrases. So as you see from this, we have a noun phrase, which I'm sure you could see. It's a group of words that has the noun in it. Then we have the prepositional phrase, which we did a lot of work on when we were still in the school building. The preposition is from, so the prepositional phrase says, for here, says where the person is, right? A good friend from my school, or where the person's from. Then we have the verb visited, that's a verb phrase. And then last Monday, we haven't done too much work yet on adverbs, but last would be the adverb describing when you were, visiting. So this sentence is complete because it has a subject and a verb. So we're still, subject and a verb. So we're still thinking about subjects and verbs. A phrase never has both. So you can think of a phrase kind of like a fragment. It's a piece of the sentence. A clause contains both a subject and a verb. A clause can stand alone as a sentence. So let's make that really clear. I'm going to put that in my notes on this side. So we're talking first about a phrase. So a phrase never has a subject and a verb. It has one of those. It also, I'll do a little bullet point thing here so it'll be clear. It does not express a complete thought. It's just a piece of a sentence. All right, so now I'm going to talk about clause. And we talked a little bit about clauses in class, but not a ton. But a clause is also a piece of its sentence. It's also a piece of a sentence, but it contains both a subject and a verb. It has to have both. So if you were to take a clause out of a sentence, it can stand by itself as a sentence. Can stand by itself as a sentence. So for example, a phrase might be, Malisha, let's see. Well, maybe just Malisha, right? I have the subject, but I've got nothing else. Now, if I go down to a clause, how would I make that a clause? Malisha reads. That is a clause. That could be its own sentence. I have my subject, I have my verb. It can also be a piece of a sentence, because what if the rest of my sentence was, Malisha reads her book every night? I just added more details to really make this more of a complete thought. So that's the difference between clauses and phrases. So what you're going to do for letter A is underline a phrase in each sentence. As it says up here, you can have a bunch of phrases in a sentence. You just have to underline one. So let's do number one together. I know for sure I see a prepositional phrase because in is a preposition. So in the hall closet would be my prepositional phrase. So as you guys are doing that, go back up here to this box, look at the different types of phrases, and see if you can find one of them in these sentences. For letter B, you're going to decide if each group of words is a phrase or a clause. So use my definition up here to help remember, or in the box here, to help remember the difference. If it is a phrase, use it in a sentence. So let's see if we can do number 5 together. I noticed the jacket later. I noticed the jacket later. Well, do I have a subject? Sure do. Do I have a verb? Absolutely. Noticed. I is the subject. Noticed is the verb. So because I have both of those, it cannot be a phrase. It has to be a clause. And because it's a clause, I don't have to do anything. So I want you guys to continue with that. Remember, if it's a phrase, you have to then complete the sentence. And that is page 175.